I'll try to do it.
All right. Well, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Bryan Schwartz, and I work in a cannabis field. We met through our mutual friend Jenna,
Yeah.
who's been just an amazing person to know for a long time. We've had like events and company parties up at her ranch, up at the Phoenix Rising up in Malibu, and it kind of evolved, and the cannabis part of it has been a lifelong, the majority of my life in cannabis, really. So I think cannabis and the arts and stuff like that and what you're doing with your foundation, there is a connection to it.
Yeah.
So I think, our paths have crossed.
Yeah. Yeah, no. You actually have a podcast, right?
We don't really have podcasts. We do a lot of videos and just content for fun, for all the conspiracy stuff, treasure hunts, and we had a show called Between Two Strains.
I think that's so great.
That was, that was a cool spoof. It was fun. I think that was 2015
Okay.
when we were doing that stuff. So like in the beginning of cannabis, I've been doing it on the grow side since I was about like 20.
Oh, wow.
My dad's in the film and studios and stuff, and I got a good job out of high school, and I was able, fortunately, to buy a house. And since I owned the house, and back in those days, it was a felony to get caught growing weed.
Oh, wow.
I didn't have a landlord to worry about.
Yeah.
So I was, through high school, we'd always do some outdoor plants, but for the indoor stuff, I had the opportunity to do it. So I messed around with it for 5 years just for fun, started selling stuff. And my wife, her first cousin is Josh D. He's a famous grower, and he's responsible for bringing the OG Kush to Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned this when we were at the
Milo is super into Josh, kind of knew his crew a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit from back in the day. So when they brought it out from Florida, it was definitely something far and above of any kind of level of weed that people were able to grow. A lot of it was just legacy strains, weird seed drops, or popping seed batches out of bags that you got.
What's that?
Like if you get a seed in a bag,
Oh,
and
okay,
you can pop
yeah.
it and grow it. They're male or female. A lot of times those ones are going to be female.
Okay.
But it's just a long process, and I came into contact with him. Not that many people were doing it back in then. This is like the 90s. And he's like, hey, I have a really good strain. If you want to use your grow and grow this strain, I'll buy it back from you for $6,500. I was like, oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting that much money for it, and I didn't believe them. And we started doing it. He never actually took it, or it was actually one of his buddies. But it never really happened, and because I was with his cousin, they kind of let me get a pass without the, working for the group.
Yeah.
It was like an original crew that was really controlling it, and but it used to go for a lot of money back in those days.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest pot smoker. I have had some interesting trips on it. So did this kind of just find you? It sounds like it kind of like...
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I don't know. I was thinking about it earlier today, actually. How did this all start? How am I here?
Yeah.
And I was a sports kid. Like I said, my father was in the studios, and kind of grew up very, generic, I think, in terms of myself and what sports and just hanging with the buddies. I wasn't early. I think it was the summer between 8th and 9th grade that I first drank some beers and smoked some pot in Martha's Vineyard with my friend Don Carlisi. And that I enjoyed it so much. It set me off. So maybe that was like a month before high school started.
Yeah.
And then I got into high school, and there was just this different world of freedom, and I felt older and bigger, and I really embraced all that stuff. Just acid, mushrooms, weed. It was too much. I went off the deep end quick.
That happens.
And it did cost me a lot of problems. I got expelled from a bunch of different schools, and shuffle me around to all these different things. I was, never bad. It wasn't, it wasn't hurting anybody. It was just kind of against what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I turned it around. I was able to graduate high school, and like I said, got a job with my dad on Baywatch. Him and my uncle and created Baywatch. So
Oh, wow,
I got
very
a job
cool.
as a grip, doing lighting and stuff on Baywatch. And as a 20-year-old kid, that was, amazing. I had kind of a weird relationship with my father. I moved out with him when I was like 15 because I didn't like what I was doing. My parents were divorced. I went to go live with my mom. So there was a big gap between like 15 to really like 19 or 20.
Yeah.
Not much relationship there. And, he was doing all that stuff the whole time. And I think for me, while I was doing it, I was making money, whether I was doing delivery driving and selling pot or mushrooms or acid. I really actually did do that throughout high school. It was like a source of income.
Yeah.
And allowed me, great opportunities to go travel and have money in that time of my life. And when I got the house, I just started messing around with growing weed. And then I did that for a really long time. And then about 10 years ago, a good friend of mine, Chris, who I met at the golf club where I was at, we were friends for 10 years, best buddies. And he was in commercial real estate. I was doing cannabis. And this was before all like the licenses when you could start selling in medical in like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And we just hit it off, and he's like, whenever the time's right, we're going to get a place, get a license, buy a building, and we're going to, do it legit. And I didn't think much of it and just did what I did, and the time was right. We did it, and it's been a good 10-year run. And that's how Coast to Coast started. And that's how I started doing like legal cannabis with permitting and retail and cultivation and manufacturing.
Yeah, haven't you won a couple of awards?
Yeah, we've won a bunch of awards. I think most of the awards are kind of, they're not legit. There's, it's not a legitimate award. I appreciate the awards.
Yeah.
But it's, it depends on how much effort you put into the event.
Yeah.
And, as long as you're at a certain level, they'll give you the award if you
Okay.
participate and help their event.
So you're putting yourself down here, or?
No. I mean, even after, I think we've run 90 strains, probably 60 of them we crossbred ourselves over
cool.
like the history.
Yeah.
I think usually we're always running about 22 to 25 strains that are in rotation.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 or 7 of those are like the most popular ones that people really go through. And, the OG is still one of our best sellers.
Yeah.
That's still what I like to smoke.
Yeah.
All the other strains are awesome, but it's, I think lots of people like lots of different things.
Yeah.
And whenever someone can find something that they like, they just got to acknowledge that and stop chasing all this other stuff that's kind of hyped up. And, there's a lot of stuff now that people want, and it's more terp.
What's that?
And like the smells, not as much of the high.
Okay, when they have you go around sniff all the things.
There's, the terpene profiles are kind of what the hype is a lot. There's a lot of dessert stuff, and they're not really going to get you as high as an OG would.
Yeah.
But there's a whole different connoisseur aspect I think people enjoy, whether it's the smell or the taste and the high. And it's lighter too. Some of the weed is very powerful.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people, even growers, like big time growers, bigger than what we are. They personally can't smoke weed anymore because it gives them too much anxiety. It just doesn't work with them.
Yeah.
But this is their business, and I think there's a lot of components of that.
Yeah.
And then I think there's obviously a lot of components where maybe someone like myself, I really like smoking weed.
Yeah.
I think it benefits me, and I'm surrounded by it. And you kind of, if you're doing it, you kind of have to know what you're even creating.
Yeah, you gotta sample and be like, how does this feel when I consume it? Yeah. Have you seen the guy that played classical music for his corn crops, and these things grew like 5 times?
Yes.
I'm like, I better start listening to more classical music.
I mean, anything that gives you peace of mind and is tranquil, which I think a lot of people, cannabis helps, but a lot of people, cannabis doesn't.
Yeah,
You know, makes it the opposite.
Yeah, it can be that way.
It can be the opposite, and it just is what it is. And you know, with music or even electrical stuff, there's a lot of. I don't think it's been brought into cannabis. It should. I've thought about it and would love to do it, but it's probably dangerous in hydroponics. But they use electricity with ground rods and copper and crystal.
Oh, wow.
And you can pull, you know, through the roots, pull energy up from the ground. And it's been doing it since the 1800s, 1900s. It was a big thing, like electrical cultivation.
Yeah.
And just adding electricity into the plants where you get crops like 5 times the size.
I didn't know that. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's really, I like that. One of the things that I wanted to bring up and share was that you're rebranding, right? Is that something we can share, actually?
Oh, yeah. Well, we're rebranding a component of our business.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have multiple facilities, multiple retails, and they're individual investments and investment groups. So, you know, long term is always supposed to be rolled up together and be one. Yeah. And it's complicated to do that in business. And one of the licensing downtown that you're referring to took us a really long time. We were able to take over the license and facility in 2015, and we're supposed to be open in 2016. And because of circumstances with the city and the state and just a whole bunch of DBS stuff, we couldn't open until 2022. So that was a big, long gap. And then we opened as Coast to Coast in downtown, which it was Cannibal City Collective, because when we took it over, you weren't even allowed to have two shops with the same name. Oh. It was like forbidden.
Why?
This is legal stuff. They've been working through that because we've been in it for a long time. So all the legal stuff is really only catching up in the past like 4 years. Wow. Because it went rec. So once the rec thing happened, then it was a bigger business. And they started allowing people to run it like more of a business.
Well, that's fascinating. Even though it's legal, it sounds like it's still like the amount of effort that you have to put into doing stuff. It seems like you have to jump through a lot of hoops.
It's complicated, and there's a lot of extra stuff that other businesses don't have to worry about at all. Yeah. So for the downtown, it's Coast to Coast Cannabis downtown right now, but we're in the Arts District in downtown, and we kind of felt like that image and that brand that we've had for so long in the Valley, it really wasn't playing that well down there. And it's a different group. So that different group, we wanted to give them their own identity. It's still the same group of people behind running Coast to Coast and 3C. But this is going to be Arts District Cannabis, and we're going to embrace the arts and include artists, you know, like your family and other groups and people to have a platform to have their art out there associated, you know, not necessarily with cannabis, but since we're in the Arts District, it felt fitting. Yeah.
It's also fun to get high and look at art.
Yeah, that's always a good thing. And I think probably one day it'll, you know, lighten up and, you know, downtown there's tons of art stuff. Yeah. So hopefully we can facilitate be able to get them where they want to be to enjoy the arts and let your mind expand. I think for me, I'm not like an artist in the sense of painting or like creating stuff. I love building, you know, just construction, just from the history and the studios and stuff. But I think for me, just the mind wandering, you know, I think I get a lot of good ideas and fun stuff that, you know, we've been able to kind of create outside of cannabis associated, but just a different way to express it.
Well, your place downtown is beautiful, the way you guys have it, and I do like it.
And it is the original Arts District, or like there's an homage of that district, that the reason why it kind of became the Arts District is the gentleman who owned and, you know, occupied that building for 47 years or something.
Oh, wow. That's a decent amount of time. So I saw you brought a box of goodies.
Brought a box of goodies. I got a lot of stuff here.
I do need a longer cord.
A little bit longer. I'm working with it.
I should have moved the microphone a little bit closer, but then we might be sitting on each other. So.
Yeah, so we can talk about this one first.
So that's the camera that records.
The main one?
Yeah.
So this is one of the fun things that I felt like, honestly, the most enjoyable month of my life.
Yeah.
Creating this.
Really?
Yeah, it's a treasure hunt.
Oh, that's cool.
So we give it out to all the patients who want to participate in it, and it's basically a treasure box, and it's I'll read this little embargo here. It says, "Welcome to the 3C Secret. You're about to embark on an epic journey that will take you to some of the most amazing places LA has to offer. This is meant to bring friends and family together for adventure and fun. If your brain is up to the task, there's a crystal skull and $10,000 available for you at Coast to Coast Canoga Park." So this is actually kind of how we met, along with Jenna, too.
Yeah.
The crystal skull.
Yeah.
Because I love the crystal skull. Yeah. All of our strains that we do are named after a conspiracy. Yeah. Maybe it's innuendo, maybe it's pretty direct.
Yeah.
But, the 80 of them, we have a periodic table of elements, which we call the periodic table of strains. And it looks just like the periodic table of elements.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's, 80, 90 different strains that have kind of a conspiracy attachment. Because we don't really name it. Most of the whole industry for cannabis names their stuff what it is on the strain. Lemon cherry gelato, Jack Herrera, Gorilla Glue, whatever the name is. That's just what they name it. And most of the branding is just like different...
That was me. Sorry, I thought I turned my volume off. Naughty me.
My phone's on too. But most people, they just, hey, we're this cannabis brand, and this is the strain, and there's really nothing behind it.
Yeah.
So I always thought it was a good platform to. People love cannabis, and I can take a strain like we have Illuminati OG, right? So that's OG Kush. That's the original OG Kush. But the Illuminati is kind of that. It's like a door opener. I think people look at it as it's kind of it's bullshit. It's just hype. Yeah. But there are groups of people around this world that do have, agendas. And whether it's that one or the Anunnaki OG that we have, the energy. It's not. That's the thing. It's not even necessarily really a conspiracy. These are all true things. But I think they're played down, so it's just a fun way to engage with people. And when you smoke cannabis, it kind of opens your mind to look at different things in a different way. So we're kind of, it's trying to open that door a little bit.
That's kind of like what my dad used to do in the 80s and 90s. There's a quote from him. He says, "I want to grab you by the jugular and make you think."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you never know what'll connect with people. So that's why all the different stuff, whether it's like a, Hollow Earth with Operation High Jump, or all these weird random stuff. Crystal Skull, that Crystal Skull thing is legit. It's something that's
I don't know much about it.
So there's supposedly 13 crystal skulls that are considered ancient and not like replicas or people trying to make them, because they get pretty. Through the scientific community, we'll put through all different lenses and processes to identify how they were made. Some of them, they can identify them as fakes or replicas, and some of them they can't, which like Max. Max is one that is probably one of the most famous ones besides the Hodges one.
Oh, wow. I didn't
so there's a lot of them. I mean, people are really into that stuff, and who knows? I think the cool thing about it is, the who knows part. What could be out there? We used to have our slogan for a long time was "Get out there," and it was kind of get out there and just live, or get out there in your mind, explore different stuff. So cannabis was always supposed to help people do that. For us.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I would love to, because I want to do a treasure hunt or scavenger hunt with my dad's artwork.
That would be incredible.
Yeah. So since you've done one, I would love to.
Yeah, we can collaborate.
I would love to do
Here,
that.
I'll open this one up. So the inside of the box, these are all kind of clues, and there's 6 locations. So all of these things I drew out, and if you actually figured out the clue and got to the right location, one of these images is going to confirm to you that you're on the right track.
Oh, shit.
So there's this thing here. It says the master clue list on the middle right.
Middle right.
Yeah, right there.
Thanks. I'm what's my right?
Here, we'll just read through it real fast for fun. So it says, meet Phosphor at the Temple of Illumination. So those two words right there are getting you to a place. I've already disclosed it, so that is actually, we'll go through it.
Yeah.
That's the Temple of Illumination is what the LA Central Library is called.
What?
Yeah. So when they built it, I think it was like 1920s they built it, and there's a big pyramid on the top of it.
Yeah.
And it was like a high-up mason that developed that building for the library.
They develop a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and then Phosphor is this dude. This is actually Hesper. But there's two of these statues. They look similar, and this is Hesper, god of the east, and then Phosphor is god of the west, and that's on the front of below the pyramid at the library.
Oh, wow.
So then you're at a library. So then the next clue kind of is when you see it, which I was referring to a book.
Yeah.
Right? So when you see the book, as I see it, John Paul Getty's autobiography, is called As I See It, right? So then you go to the library and you find that book, and then you're like, okay, I got to go to the Getty Museum, right?
Yeah.
So then you go up to the Getty Museum, and it says, as I see it, the perch shall be known. So the perch is where the Getty is up on that mountain.
Yeah.
And then there's coordinates there.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was like a coordinate.
Yeah, that's a coordinate, and so when you kind of line that up, that's a compass coordinate. So if you were to line up 308, 128, they have a huge fountain at the central area on part of the top of the Getty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know that
and
fountain.
there's like 50 different fountain
I
spouts coming on there.
Doing a photography project of that thing.
So that's one of the fountains there. This little fountain. Thing
yeah, it is.
Okay. And then, so basically, and it says 33. So, and the thought is you're counting out 33 of those fountains, and then you look to the west, the other 3 stands, and the other 3 would be a tree. And there's a lot of 33 in this. So when you go down 33 on the fountains, you look, there's a tree, the 3rd tree. And then it says peer to see the tree. And then the peer to see the tree aspect of it, you would think that you're looking at the tree.
Yeah.
But if you kind of that was intended, this is the hardest clue of the whole one. And like I said, I've already given these away because when we launched this treasure hunt, it was 5 days before the lockdown in 2020.
Oh, no.
So we had this big promotion. We had hundreds of people up there signing up for this treasure hunt because the winner gets $10,000.
Yeah.
And as soon as we did it, a lot of these locations were shut down. So all these, the library was shut down, the Getty Museum was shut down. So after kind of time went on, we slowly disclosed them through the pandemic just to keep people inspired to want to try to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So it says peer to see the tree. So that actually means because you're looking right down, you can see the Santa Monica Pier from there.
I was wondering if it was a pier.
So pier is actually the pier. Sea is actually the sea.
Okay.
So that was supposed to tell people you have to go to the Santa Monica Pier.
Alright.
And then it says 3 lines carved at the tip. The tip is the Santa Monica Pier, and then these lines here are lines that I carved into the tip of the Santa Monica Pier on a couple different places that all line up in case they got rid of one. Some of them were on little bait cutters, and it's at the tip of the pier. So, and then that sends you off to the direction of those lines. And then from there, it's simple because both of those ones weren't closed down.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And then the rest of them, Jen has actually gotten pretty far. And then there's a couple stuff. So the skull is currently still buried.
Really?
Yeah. So when it says, okay, so 3 lines at the tip point you on your way, that takes you to the other Getty Museum, which I've already given away anyway. Yeah. And then after that, I can't say anything. But go 33 to the left, the Shoot Yourself See.
So this is still an opportunity here.
Oh, still an opportunity. It's still there waiting. And there's a point that a lot of people have gotten to that's pretty simple and fun. I think the idea of it for me was let's have fun. Let's have an excuse to go to some of these really cool places like the LA Century Library, like John Paul Getty Museum, Santa Monica Pier, the other Getty Museum. And then there's some other fun places that everyone should just go. It's fun.
Yeah.
So it was a way to get everyone out there with the idea of maybe finding the skull and, winning the prize.
No, I've actually been wanting to do something like a treasure hunt, so I would
Yeah.
love to come up one with the art and this stuff, because you already kind of included art, because you went to all these different places that are like art museum that
Yeah,
say,
totally.
like, have
We
like
can
different.
do,
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of, for me, it's hard because I put it together, so I feel it's very accomplishable.
Yeah.
However, this thing was actually inspired by this book called The Secret.
Oh yeah. I remember. I know that book.
Yeah,
I
from like the
haven't read it.
40s.
Yeah.
I think it was actually an artist and an author who decided to do 13 treasure hunts.
Oh, very cool.
And only 3 or 4 of them have been found.
Oh,
Still.
wow.
But he did them in a different way, so like a lot of them could have been destroyed. I made sure this one
Yeah.
couldn't be affected.
Yeah.
So
okay.
everything we did wasn't going anywhere, and the
Alright.
place where the treasure is not going anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. And we have really cool, my character in this, we did a bunch of videos and big production value on the videos that we did.
Yeah. I
And
saw
the
some of it, so it was
character-
great.
Yeah, the character's Indica Joneson.
yeah, I saw you.
I got like the hat. This is actually my Indica Johnson shirt, coincidentally. So that part of it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I hope someone finds it. I really do. Otherwise, we'll do like some big event for all the people that are really into it and have
Yeah.
been frustrated.
Yeah.
And we'll just take everyone on it. We'll
Yeah,
make it
yeah.
like a communal victory. For
Yeah.
the people that really found it. But I really hope someone's going to come through and just, hey, I found it,
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of tempted to see it.
Yeah, it's total. It is completely doable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's that hard. Once you get to the end part, you just have to. It'll click for someone. It'll click with.
Yeah.
Because it's right there in front of you.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not buried.
It is buried.
Okay, but it is
The
right in
actual
front of you.
skull. When I say it's right in front of you, like
the answer.
the answer is right.
Okay.
Yeah, the answer is right in front of you of where it is. But yeah, you still
Yeah.
have to go and dig something up.
Okay.
It's buried 3 feet 3 inches underground on a 3.3 coordinates off of a wooden pyramid.
Yeah.
So it's there. I think someone will do it. My brother thinks I'm crazy, and it'll be like 10 years from now, no one's going to find it.
No, because I can see, like, as you were going through, I saw some of this stuff just intuitively. So it's there. It's all there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah. So what else you got going on in this?
Yeah, this
goodie
is
box?
I just brought you some gift products, really.
Oh.
But there's these things. We do them. These are cannabis lotions. It's an opie knot. They're really nice, actually. It's sandalwood spice and velvet pear. They're just like topical lotions. Doesn't get you high or anything like that. We got these like liquid joint things that are
Liquid joint? What's a liquid joint?
liquid joint. It's like in a doob tube.
It smells like a guy I dated.
Is that the sandalwood? Yeah. That's the men's scent.
Okay.
And then the blue one is velvet pear, which is the woman's scent.
It's like, there he is.
And these are really cool. So, I think a lot of people, I'm actually probably opposite. If I smoke any weed, I cannot do edibles. But if I do edibles by themselves,
That's nice.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
velvet pear one.
I like that one.
Yeah. And smoking, it doesn't go together. But I enjoy edibles if I don't smoke. If I smoke and I do the edibles,
Yeah, the combining.
the combining of those two. And it's just both cannabis, but just the way your body uptakes it.
It's different.
Yeah, so that's, it's like a liquid, it's like a liquid shot. It's 20 ml.
Oh, wow.
So instead of like gummies or something like that, it's
Okay, now
small
I
drink.
get it.
Because they make drinks like that are like 10 milligram for like 12 ounces.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of liquid to get 10 milligram. But there's gummies, and they have all sorts of different microdoses. We do these ones too that are like these sublingual tabs.
Ooh.
And I just went to the Dead show over the weekend. I haven't been. When I was in high school, I think I went to 40 or 50 Dead shows.
Wow.
Because every summer we'd go to like 10 or 12
Oh, that's
all through
cool.
high school. But these ones are kind of inspired with the whole Dead stuff. So
I gotta
these
show you. Sorry, I have to show you the van that my dad has, a Grateful Dead van.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it was fun. I mean, I haven't been forever,
Yeah.
but there's these ones. So these are like sublingual strips, almost like a Listerine strip,
Cool.
but they're nano. So all the nano stuff, all the manufactured products we make are all nano.
What does that mean?
They break the particles down like really small. So when
Okay.
you put them in your mouth,
It
you can
diffuses,
uptake them in
yeah.
your mouth instead
Okay.
of having typical edible. You put it in your, I think that's one of the problems with edibles traditionally is because it goes in your body, your stomach, and your
Yeah.
digestive system has to break it down. And then
Yeah.
it's like an hour and a half later, you can feel the effects of it.
Yeah.
So people, they say, I don't feel anything, and then they end up taking more when they shouldn't have. And then that's where the problems come in.
Yeah.
So the nano stuff hits in like 15 minutes.
Oh wow. Okay.
So like you can actually have like a real-time uptake. It saves about an hour
Okay.
of waiting for the high or
So
the
it's a
effect.
bit safer.
I would say it's safer. And the high, it doesn't last as long. A lot of the edibles, you're like trapped for like 6 hours.
These are cool.
Yeah. So those actually have mushrooms in them.
Yeah, I was reading that.
The people that help us make these actually, they know how to do the process to make it with mushrooms. That's why we have mushrooms on all the packaging, because when the state allows us to,
Yeah.
we'll be able to do the same product with microdosing for psilocybin.
Amazing. Yeah, we actually, me and Dr. Green, we want to make sure that we have those protocols ready for people when it's available.
Yeah,
yeah.
the processes are there. We have the ability to do it, but our group and we definitely try to do everything as much by the book as we can.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to, and it's tempting because you can get ahead of it.
Yeah.
If you skim or you don't follow the rules, but
Yeah.
it's not worth it. Too much effort has gone into keeping everything like legitimate.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah. And then there's other stuff, we got the eighths. These are, most of our stuff is in eighths. All the downtown.
let's take a look at that.
Yeah, this is the Anunnaki
Thank
one.
you. Oh, okay. That's funny.
Yeah. So, there's a story behind the weed of every
Yeah.
single product that we have. And the 33 is kind of encompassed in everything, even just our name, 3C, it's Coast to Coast Cannabis.
Yeah.
And, C is the third letter of the alphabet. So it's 3 C's and C's a 3, so it's 33.
That's funny.
There's like a whole, I don't know, never really thought about it too much, but it was just like a fun momentum thing,
Yeah.
behind everything. And
Yeah.
it kind of helps tie everything together from like a branding standpoint.
My old company was Century Creative Culture, CCC.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's like this is a different, like this Coco Dulce. That one is like, there's the Dolce base.
I want to
And
open it.
yeah, go for it. You can just crack it.
Oh, what do you mean crack it?
Well, you can crack it. You just pop it off.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're on the 8th, there's the tunnel on the part.
Oh, wow.
On the top. Yeah, it's just standard pre-roll. And we do tons of pre-rolls.
Yeah, I would
And
need, if I don't know how to roll anything.
You see the alien on there? He's like, it's an alien in kind of a suit. Because, the conspiracy for the Dolce base in New Mexico is that there's a whole underground military base in the Dolce plateau, what are they called? Mesa, the Dolce Mesa.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
so
one
it's
I
like
missed that
26
one.
downs. That's where all the crazy alien hybrid, where we have humans and aliens working together in different things, doing crossbreeding
Holy shit.
and experiments on the human race. And there's some evolutionary thing, because that's actually what the Anunnaki, that's
Yeah,
on
I
the front of
remember.
that. That's what that's the oldest acknowledged scripture or text or information in the world.
Yeah.
The first society in Babylon and Samaria were the Anunnaki, and they state basically that they came here from another planet, came to Earth in search of gold, and then they created humans in their likeness to help them mine gold. So they came here,
Wow.
and this is like Zechariah Stitchin, and there's all this, but it's the oldest text on Earth. Supersedes anything.
Oh, wow.
Dead Sea Scrolls or Bibles or any historical stuff. It's the first.
I didn't know it was that old.
And, if you look at all of their when they're writing, it's all with the little triangles.
Yeah.
It says it very directly that they created us, and they basically took our local Homo sapien, which is probably more like maybe a Cro-Magnon or a monkey. Because they were giants, So all those. I remember. Even in the Bible, there's talk of Nephilim, and David and Goliath and all that stuff. So they were giants themselves. They created humans in test tubes and stuff, which is all like documented. Not necessarily test tubes, but like in the laboratory, with crossbreeding. They created the humans to be basically smart enough to understand what their job is, and not like an ape or a monkey, but and communicate, and they evolved us. Like they sped up that potentially, everyone says there's the missing link. Nobody knows what the missing link is, but the missing link is essentially what the Anunnaki did with that Homo sapien or ape or whatever it was. And they taught us to mine gold. That's why we have an obsession with gold. And in all the old pyramids and temples, which were all kind of created by them. And the truth will never be known at this moment in time. I think there's probably people that actually do know what the true truth is, but a lot of the stuff with the Smithsonian and all these other groups, they suppress and they take away a lot of that history because it goes against the history that Earth and humans know and accepted. And whether they're doing it in their head to protect us or to take away information that we should have. Either way, most of the history, I think, that we've kind of accepted is wrong. And one day will be rectified.
Definitely. It's interesting because when I studied art history at UCLA, they really never wanted to touch on the use of substances by different cultures across time. And so they would downplay any sort of like touch on like a psychedelic plant. And I'm like, that's half of their art was inspired by this. They'd be like, all
it's in there forever. I mean, a lot of these, the plants, the whole pharmaceutical industry is based off of plants. Anyway, all they're trying to do is like mimic and like pull stuff and make it synthetically to basically profit off of. So there's so much stuff there that was inspired for pharmaceuticals by plants, or however you want to look at it. But, I think we have everything here that we need to take care of ourselves. And I think the hardest part to take care of is your mind. It's just so influenced, especially now with so much, it's hard. You're bombarded with so much stuff. It's just, who knows where it goes and how suppressed people are, but I think free thought is...
It's vital.
It is vital. And without so much influence by my kids, I have young kids, 16 and 11, getting older, I guess not so young, but, what they are growing up with, like I couldn't imagine growing up with that when I was a kid. And the distraction of being on a screen. And, you don't really have to have that direct connection. Like you and I are sitting here talking. That was the only way you could do it back in those days. Unless you're on your phone, which we did too. But even that's different. There's more of a connection when you're talking.
Texting, no, definitely. Do you remember the old car phones?
I do. My mom used to have a car phone. My dad, I was doing like delivery for some Chinese food place. I think it was like 18. And they just came up with those Motorola flip phones. He got me a phone.
I remember those.
He's like, I'm going to get you a phone because, we were having a relationship getting better. And he's like, I'm going to help you out, get your phone, help you with your delivery driving. And I was like, oh, cool, awesome. And the bill was like $600 for the first month. He's like, no more phone. And then I didn't have a phone again until I was 25. And everything was just my home phone with an answering machine.
Answering machines. I remember those. I actually my friend actually had a self-recorded message when I called them yesterday, and I was like, the fuck? I was like, it reminded me of the old message machines that would be like tape, and you'd have to rewind it and punch it.
There was something simple to it. I think that's there was so much of a slower pace. It's like if you were out, you were just out. You didn't have people contacting you the whole time while you're out with other people. And all these distractions with everything that you do. And it's just forced us to be so fast paced, and everything's so instant, and it's stressful.
Yeah, it's definitely stressful. But I wanted to share a little bit of about you at what I see, our vision at the event. And so, like, I've given you free reign at what I deem the Caterpillar Lounge.
Oh yeah,
And
we're
so,
excited. I was talking to all my employees over in Canoga this morning, so a bunch of them are excited to come and check it out.
Yeah,
And
amazing.
Asia's excited. She might bring and do a bunch of displays with her cannabis art up in that. She has a whole black series that she did.
Perfect.
I think she's got some collabs with Risk, and we're going to bring a ton of product and people and spread the love.
Yeah.
So thank you for having us. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, no, I'm excited because for me, I kind of want it to be like the Soho House meets like spirituality meets the arts meets like kind of like a cool hangout. Like I want people to like just chill and have fun, and like there's things to do but also things to not do, like like I'm really excited to have you be a part of this and to share, because your creativity, it is like just this alone, that's like the amount of creative thought that needs to go into something like this. It's immense.
Yeah.
Like this is not.
And it was so easy. And that's the cool thing about it. I think what you're trying to do is giving people a platform to be able to express those arts with your foundation.
Yeah.
So it's like if you have the opportunity and you really have a passion, it comes so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
when it's forced, whether you're in a writer and you got writer's block, or you're trying to do a painting or you just don't know where to start, like when it comes easy, it always comes together so well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've actually just experienced this for the first time with putting this foundation together, because like my writing came really easy, but like the thing that like I was like, what am I doing in this world? Like, what am I creating? Like, where am I going? What's my purpose? Like, there was so many things and they were so difficult. I almost died a couple times. And now, like, putting this foundation together and putting this event together, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Like,
when it's there and you're like passionate about it and you're having fun doing it, exciting, and one thought leads to another thought, and then you're happy about those thoughts. It's really good.
It's amazing. And so like for me, like it's literally this foundation is to be able to pass it on to others that may like be inspired or find something they're like, I would have never tried this and now I love it. It's like, that's
what life's about. It really is. And I think that's what I mean. For me, like there's so many distractions and they want like this open air slave state. And if you conform to it and follow all those kind of conformities and rules that we're supposed to follow as this growing society emerges, I think it just takes away so much of what we're actually here for and how special we are. And we're so untapped in our abilities, whether it's consciousness or our understanding of the truth, And then for me, that's like really what everything goes back to. It's got to be the truth. I don't care about any predetermined thought. I just want to know what the truth is for any subject. And that is like a driving force to find out, And that's for me, that's where a lot of my kind of passion is behind. It's just truth.
I feel you on that. It's interesting because growing up, my dad, he was not really big on school, and so I wanted to go to school, and he's like, I'm not going to buy you any school supplies, like whatever. But any art supplies, he was like, I would get whatever I wanted. And I was like, what is this deal? And I actually sat and thought about this for a while. I was like, because I used my brain for art, it put me into more creative thinking. So like anything that I needed, a situation I need to get out of, I naturally like basically have that ability to like think creatively, because that's how you get yourself out of things.
Problem solving too, just critical thinking. You have something in front of you, you got to figure out how to make it work. He probably, not to speak for him, but he probably understands and realizes just how just false even and unnecessary and distracting a lot of those kind of standard credentials of what you're going to school for. It's like the opposite of what they should develop in people for. Is this just mundane? And the problem is a lot of that text, even the textbooks for schools, and my kids go to school and they learn a lot of stuff. A lot of the stuff is not accurate. It's how basically the truth is what people are willing to accept as the truth. And if you don't have the choice of, you're just being fed it, that's someone else's truth. That's the truth they want you to know, and it gets lost. You know, so then you end up we're wasting your time learning a lot of stuff that isn't accurate.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. One of the things I remember is he showed me money. I remember I was like, I think I was in middle school. He's like, "This is not real."
Right.
And I looked at him. I was like, "What do you like?" And then when I got older, I was like, "Holy shit!" He was on. Like, he was definitely onto something.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, you know, the money thing. It's just a control mechanism.
Yeah.
It's just created. It's not worth shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's why, I mean, real estate has a tangible value. It's an asset. If you can touch it, it has value.
Yeah.
You know, gold has value. The stuff on computer screens and paper money that they just print really doesn't have any value other than what people are willing to say it has value for. That's it.
Yeah.
And that can change like that.
Oh yeah.
That could be overnight.
Yeah. That's why I never touched any of the what is it, those Bitcoin things. I was just like,
I regret not touching the Bitcoin thing. Because there was a website I used to look at all the time called Before It's News, a long time ago. And Bitcoin was all over there. Oh, Bitcoin's the next thing. It's $40 a Bitcoin.
oh wow.
Yeah, and at the time I had sold that house that I had, and I had all this money, and I put money into the stock market.
Yeah.
This is the last time I've ever done it, and I've only bought gold and silver since this. This was like 20-something years ago. And I put all this money into a TD Waterhouse account, and I put like $200,000 into Sirius XM.
Yeah.
Right? It was just Sirius back then. Yeah. But that was going to make a bunch of money on it. That was the same time Bitcoin was being floated as just emerging.
Yeah.
Like way back in the day. I could have got Apple, could have got Sirius, ended up losing all the money, and like, you know, thinking I was a stockbroker at 25 and on my laptop making these trades. I lost all the money really quickly.
Oh no.
And I was like, God, this is bullshit. But it was a good learning lesson. I would never do it again. Because it's not real.
Yeah, I think there's some funny business going on in that world.
Yeah. Well, the Bitcoin thing, they want it. I mean, we're going to be doing CBDCs here very soon.
Oh, really?
The crypto digital currency or central currency.
Yeah.
So like we're going to start issuing basically our own Bitcoin that's backed by the government, because they say Bitcoin's not backed by anything other than the finite amount of Bitcoins that are out there.
Yeah.
But the central banks can just print more or make more cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people think it was kind of just a lead-in or a bait-in to get people to want to do it, to think that, if you do it in crypto, it's going to have more of an upward value.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, I've kind of lived under a rock with a lot of this stuff.
Live under that rock. Don't even learn about it or stay about it.
Yeah, no, it's I'm glad I isolated, because now that I emerge and I get to see all this stuff, I'm just like, this is going on.
It's about to get crazy.
There's some stuff in the air. And so, that's for me, like, that's the importance of bringing out what we're doing and inspiring people to, express themselves however that is. And, it's for me, like, there's nothing greater than being able to provide a source of joy and happiness to someone else.
Yeah, especially just being proud of yourself for, whether it's going on a hike and getting out there and doing something and be like, oh, I'm so glad that I did that, you know, or whether it's actually, doing something that you're putting off for a business thing, but you have passion for it. I think just like doing something and accomplishing it is just inspiring, however it is. So that's great. You guys are providing people the opportunity. And encouraging it.
It's amazing. Is there any final things that you would like to share?
Not really. Excited for our partnerships and some of the exhibits that we're going to do in the Downtown Arts District, which I think it's going to be July 1st, where we officially switch it over to Arts District Cannabis from coast to coast, where it is right now. We just had an amazing piece done by Vile. I don't know if you guys met Vile.
I don't think I did.
He just redid the whole front in the parking lot down there.
Okay, yeah. Cool piece.
Super colorful. He's really famous for doing a lot of the eyes. He does these kind of...
I have to check him out.
Almost like all seeing eye. I don't know if that's his intention, so I don't want to speak for him. But, there's a lot of that eye and imagery and symbolism for everything. Everything's symbolism. And it's... people like to be able to put out what their views are with symbolism.
Yes, definitely.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming and sharing all this stuff. I look forward to
this
future.
is all for you, so you just keep it here.
I definitely know a number of people that have been coming in for the podcast would definitely enjoy.
We'll leave it here as part of the green room.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Truly, this is a lot of fun. I'm excited. Cool. This I'm gonna see if I can.
Yeah, check it out, and you gotta go to the Instagram and see all the videos. Because there's some really awesome videos.
All right,
and that was the best part. For my brother and I, we had the time of our life putting that together.
All right.
And he's Bigfoot. In case Sasquatch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.